So yeah, I mean, as a former athlete, Gene, myself, right, and understanding what the rules were governing, the publicity rights of the student athlete, and then this going into effect next year, I wanted to be able to empower the athlete. I wanted to be able to service the athlete and provide a service or a structure that's going to allow them to, fully take advantage of this opportunity, monetizing their name, image, and likeness. So I'm setting up a platform right now with a business partner of mine, and we're working on, being able to have that up and running by August 21st of 2021 season, to make it, an easy process for them to go about, like I said, monetizing their name, image, and likeness in the most appropriate way.
Absolutely. And talk about how your background that brought you to this. So obviously, competing in football, St. Peter's Prep, basically right down the road from me where I grew up. I think I was working with the wrestling team while you were over there. The Burkerts, the Colucci's, the Russos. Was that when you were there?
Yeah, that's when I was there. It's my class. I didn't know that. So yeah.
Yep.
Those are my guys. So yeah, I mean, from, a quick background on myself from St. Peter's Prep, right? A Jesuit institution was an easy transition for me to go to Notre Dame, obviously a Catholic institution in itself, and very similar values, very similar experience. Like I said, easy transition for me. And I'd garnered this interest in business, and, no one in my family really had a business background, but I wanted to take the challenging route. I think, I've never done anything in my life that was considered easy. And I can tell you for the past 8 months that this entrepreneurship path has been the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, Gene. So, and I've done some hard things. So I went through accounting, understanding that I needed a business background. I needed a business foundation to kind of dive into any industry that I wanted to be in. Whether it was sports, whether it's, strictly business, whatever it was, right? There's always going to be financial statements that you had to read. So finished my degree up in accounting, and was able to, facilitate so many relationships, Genes, that I think kind of formulated my mindset of where I wanted to go and what industry I wanted to be in and what I wanted to do. And I spent some time at Excel, which is one of the top venture capital firms in Silicon Valley. It's one of the top venture capital firms in the world. And that really sparked my interest in entrepreneurship and the startup space. So I kept those relationships. I think that's one of the most important things you can do is to, I don't know the word I'm trying to say, but is to, maintain relationships that you're able to build throughout your time, right? With it, whatever experience it is. And then I kind of got into this space, and long story short, I met up with a buddy of mine who had some similar ideas around the name, image, and likeness space. He's also from Jersey, Seton Hall guy. So we put our brains together, and we've been hard at work for the past 8 months during quarantine. So much time on our hands. So we've made some really good progress to date.
That's awesome. And so now you have like the business mentality and all your interest over there, and also just being a high profile athlete yourself, of course, in high school, and then being a quarterback at Notre Dame. I mean, what do you, there couldn't be anything really more high profile than that, especially in college sports, but even among pro. I mean, to be the quarterback at Notre Dame. So talk about how that influenced and the things that you learned. And we had a whole bunch of compliance meetings. I remember in wrestling, I'm sure football even more. Talk about that and how that influenced your journey.
I think, they say the three most important positions are the Pope, quarterback of America, and then the quarterback at Notre Dame. So it was a blessing, Gene, to be honest with you. It was a blessing, and I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to play. And, you don't really realize and you don't really appreciate it until you're done. I tried to walk around campus and understand the position I was in, the blessing that I was given, right? The opportunity that I was given and the platform. And I continue to try to utilize that platform today. And hopefully I still have some value that I can kind of, give off some of that wisdom and that knowledge. But yeah, right. Once you get into the compliance aspect of it and kind of the nitty gritty of playing ball at the collegiate level, there's so much going on around you, especially at the playing the quarterback position. Your schedule's so rigorous. Life is so, there's so much going on, and you're only 18 to 22 years old. So there's only so much that you handle. So then you throw in compliance in there, and they're telling you what to do, what not to do. You have to be able to follow these rules, and you're, like I said, you're 18 to 22 years old. You're really young. You're making stupid decisions, and what I'm doing with a mogul, providing a platform to help these guys monetize, help these guys and gals monetize their name, image, and likeness, to go about it the easiest way, right? So that everything they have, when they're dealing with compliance, once this market opens, right, everything they have to deal with in terms of compliance is already housed within the app, right? So it's going to be a one-stop shop for these guys and gals, a seamless process, so they don't have to consult with so many people. They can just come to the platform and be ready to go, and have a safe, make it a safe atmosphere and safe environment.
What are some of the mistakes? That's great. What are some of the mistakes you see people make in this process that maybe what your service will be able to help you avoid, or to help make it a simpler thing?
Yeah. It's interesting, Gene, because it's an untapped market. So we're not really sure, but right, what we see already happening at the collegiate level, without this even being without this even being a solution, is under the table, right? That's always going to happen, though, right? It doesn't matter where you're at, but it's under the table money. It's taking certain benefits that you're not allowed to, which is, you deal with compliance on that regard. Um, uh, Kids coming out from high school, it's gonna be really interesting once the high school kids gets involved in this entire landscape, how to deal with that. Parents, right? Like, hopefully we take out all of the unanswered, all of the question marks, and we're able to just house everything and make it, like I said, a one-stop shop and as easy as possible.
Yeah, makes sense. And it would seem like that you being an athlete, you know what that's like. You see what people are going through. You see the mistakes that are made. You see what would help them along the way, and just that relatability. I would think that trust from
Yeah.
them to you, both male and female athletes, would be huge.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's guys, right, that are doing it in this space right now, but they're older, Gene, and they don't have that personal connection to the athletes.
Right.
Um, I'm so, fairly newly removed from the sport, from college landscape itself, and like I said, I've done a pretty good job of maintaining good relationships with even higher ups within the college athletic space, that I'm able to even garner a stamp of approval on their behalf.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Now,
yeah.
talk about your mindset, how you approached football, and now how you're approaching business, and what are some of those qualities that cross through those borders that build the champion?
I think there's a lot, Gene, and I think there's so much more. Like I've actually been thinking about it, over the past couple of weeks, of that. There's so much more that even athletes miss out on once you get into like the real world. That there's that someone needs to help athletes with, but the skills that I do think are transferable are the ones that are pretty much known, right? Just discipline, accountability was a huge one I kind of built up in the last 2 years of my career, in terms of being accountable for yourself initially, and then, right, once you're done with that, or once you've mastered that as much as you can, then you can go on and take account for other guys and bringing them along and being a leader in that regard. But for sure, discipline, accountability, and what's the third thing I had? Right. I think being respected more than liked has been another thing that I've gone through, and that I've tried to make an imprint on with whatever locker room I was in. I think there's a difference in being respected than there is in being liked, and I think being respected means more to a program, to a college program, than it does being liked. So those three things, Gene, I think have been huge for me going over into the business world. Being able to lead a team, right? I still have to lead a team. It's my partner and I, and we have a bunch of guys that we're working with, guys and gals that we're working with. So a lot of transferable skills for sure. And I know you understand it even in the wrestling space.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking about that like you said, to be respected, and sometimes that, even more important than being liked. Of course, we all want to be liked, but being a person of integrity, being a person of faith and morals,
Right.
sometimes that's not always, politically correct. So, but
Right.
we need to do that, because if we have that rock solid foundation, that is
Yep.
going to bring the respect from other people, and ultimately it's going to lead us to our path of success. Now,
Absolutely.
Brandon, if you're mentoring a kid, high school, middle school, high school kid, what are
Yeah.
some of the mental mistakes on the football field and also going into business? What are some of the hurdles or just maybe problems with perspective that you see they make, and how would you guide them to success?
I think the biggest one is shying away from adversity. Gene, I think uh, that's another thing you're going to encounter with whether it's in sports or whether it's in business is adversity. So being able to attack it, right, and kind of approach it with a mindset of okay, this is only going to make me better, right? Like I went through adversity, throughout my collegiate career, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna embrace this. I'm gonna allow it to make me a better person, a better teammate, a better football player, and a better like family member, like everything I, you know, could hope for. I wanted that adversity point in my life, that pain point in my life, to make me better at. So I think taking that opportunity of adversity, whether it's on in sports or whether it's in business or whether it's in school or whether it's in life, I think learning from it is the best thing you can do, um, in any situation. So that would be my advice to anybody I was mentoring, whether it's in middle school, right? It'd be hard to ingrain in their heads in middle school, but it'd be easier once you got to the high school level. You're experience a little bit more real adversity, and then obviously college.
Definitely. And now talk about pressure. So there's no more visible position than the quarterback at Notre Dame, right? So you're dealing with media, you're dealing with pressure. I mean, second place is considered a failure there. That's
Yeah.
so. How do you keep it together mentally? What do you focus on so you stay in the zone and not let outside factors play a role?
We had a psychologist, Gene, come in and kind of help us work on those types of things and understanding, being aware of what we're going through and how we're able to approach it, in whatever regard that look like. But, like you said earlier, being a man of faith, understanding your values, understanding your priorities, I think was a huge thing for me, whether it was faith, family, football, right? Understanding that academically I needed to put myself in a position to continue to play and continue to know that ball wasn't going to last forever. So there was priorities that everyone has to set, and you kind of get that feeling once you make your decision to go to a school that you go to. So, I think I had my priorities set in place, and that kind of helped me get through, not get through, but thrive through my collegiate career, and become the man that I'm becoming.
Yeah, because it would seem like there's a lot of people who set out with good intentions. They think they could handle the pressure. They think they could that they have it together, but then once they actually see it up close and they're in the moment, they would crumble.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I
so
mean, it's college ball. Like I grouped together college and NFL, and then high school it's itself. But once you get to college, it becomes a business, and there's so much
right.
more to playing the game than just the love of the game. So you kind of have to be able to weather that storm, and you have to be able to mature, right? So it might not happen your freshman or sophomore year, but hopefully you're kind of, you know by junior year you got a good grasp of what it means to be playing at the college level.
Right, right. Now talk about the sports psychologist a little bit. Did they come in frequently? What kind
She's
of what
in
kind of
there
tips?
24/7, Gene. I
Yeah.
saw week I was in South Bend, and she popped up at a house that we go to post game or whatever. She's awesome. She's awesome. She was there 24/7. If you need somebody that you needed to speak with, whatever it may have been, she was there. She prepped us pre-game every game. Uh, she was phenomenal. She came in my sophomore year, and I think it was when Notre Dame really made that transition, and there was a change in coaching staff. There was a change in the weights in the strength staff, and then she came in and added an extra layer of mental health, of mental strength, and I think it really impacted the team overall.
That's awesome. Were the players open to it? Because a lot of times guys are, they're defensive. Yeah. Well, I don't need this. I'm already mentally strong. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think I guess but some guys weren't open to it. Some guys were closed off to the idea of being able to grow mentally, thinking that they've already had everything down packed, and you and I know that's not the case, especially like we spoke about playing at that level. So there's so much that you're oblivious to as a 20-year-old, and she allows you to kind of sit back and reflect on a lot of the stuff that you're going through. And when guys did approach her, then they understood the benefit of having her around. So I think guys were more receptive to her as they got later in their careers, and she's there now and she's part of the program now. So freshmen don't know otherwise, right? They just think, freshmen and sophomores just think, okay, she's here. This is what this is the product we're getting here at Notre Dame. This is how it works. So I'm sure she's continued. The program's only been on the rise since she's been in the program, so she's been great.
That's awesome. Is it usually one-on-one, or is it usually more as a group?
You get your one-on-one sessions if you request them, but then we'll do group sessions as well. Very frequently.
Awesome. Well, like you said, it's that mindset that's so important, and just that whole perspective, the approach, the faith. It's really being the total package. And like you said, whether it's football, school, business, or life, that's awesome. Yeah. Awesome stuff, Brandon. So where can people find more information about you and what you're doing and what the future looks like?
Well, we have our main socials. Our Instagram is at get.mogl, MOGL. We have our website, which is www.mogl.online. We're actually in the process, Gene, of developing our app, our platform, for guys and gals to be able to hop on the platform, and they'll be able to source out all of these compensation opportunities in the market, whatever athlete it is, from football to lacrosse to fencing. There's always value that these athletes drive in their local markets. So we want to be able to help them realize that value, get paid, and continue to grow their brand, because it's such a powerful thing to be able to do that at the college level. So, you resort to our website, resort to our Instagram page. We have some Instagram lives that we're doing with some phenomenal athletes on there, trying to go spectrum to spectrum, all athletes, all sports. So we're excited about the opportunity to be able to empower the athlete.
That's awesome, Brandon. Thank you. And I'll put those links in the show notes. And also, if anything comes up down the line, even if it's 6 months, a year, 2 years, just let me know, and I'll just throw them in the show notes. All
Absolutely. Right? I appreciate it. And we can hop back on again later down the road.
Sounds great, Brandon. Thank you very much.
All right, G.
All right. Take care.